Now, South Africa have joined the quarterfinalists at the 2026 Women's Africa Cup of Nations after securing their place in the last 8 with a crucial 1-0 victory over Burkina Faso in Casablanca. The defending champions finished second in Group B with 4 points behind Ivory Coast, who topped the group after beating Tanzania 2-1. Thembi Kgatlana's first half strike proved decisive as Banyana Banyana survived a tense second half to advance. Their qualification keeps alive hopes of defending their continental crown and securing a place at the 2027 FIFA Women's World Cup, with the 4 WAFCON semi-finalists earning automatic qualification. South Africa will now face host Morocco in the quarterfinals. Joining me in this conversation is Tholakele Mnganga, a good friend of the house with EWN Sports. Tholakele, it's a pleasure always to have you on the show. A very good afternoon to you. South Africa had a difficult start to the tournament, with a defeat to Tanzania and a draw against Ivory Coast. What changed within the team that allowed Banyana Banyana to navigate the pressure and secure qualification?
Always a pleasure to be on, especially when my team has won, so these conversations are not awkward. But I do feel there was just a pressure and understanding from the team about there's so much on the line. And can you imagine for them, especially of the success that they've had, to come back home and know that they'd be watching next year's World Cup and we'd be speaking about a rebuild of this team. A lot of them are expected to retire within the next 2 years. So I think there's that whole hoping that if you're going to end your career, you want to end it on a high as much as possible. The brand is on the line. And ultimately, everybody wants to be at a World Cup, and also you want to give yourself an opportunity to lift the trophy. So the players in that moment completely understood how important the game against Burkina Faso was. Okay. It was a better performance compared to the 3 group stage performances that we've had. We've really shown the quality that's in the team. There's still more that needs to be done, but I think overall they'll look at themselves and be impressed with the fact that they were able to fight back and able to prove themselves worthy of being in the quarterfinals of this competition.
Okay. Thembi Kgatlana once again delivered on the big stage, but South Africa will face tougher opposition in the knockout rounds. How important will it be for the team to maybe become less dependent on individual moments and find more attacking consistency?
I think with the tournament, it's really weird where you do want to have an X-factor player that when the chips are down, there's someone that you can turn to and say, hey, can you give us a little bit of inspiration so that the rest of the team are able to raise their game? So with her, on one hand, we're always looking to her to be the one that inspires the team. We see how at the last edition, we really did struggle without her. The likes of Jermaine Sipasingwe did try their best, but the team just wasn't cohesive at the last edition. This time around, it's slowly getting there, because if you look at it on the positive side, at least there's an upward trajectory where we started with the last went into a draw, and now we have a win. Hopefully the winning momentum continues. So you do look at that and say, hey, at least we do have a player that we can count on. But there is concerns about the fact that ultimately she is carrying the rest of the team because nobody else is on form. The likes of Nokolo Klesana aren't scoring the goals. Rifile Jane is not chipping in with the goals. Neither is Linda Matlo. So especially from that experienced core, more will be expected from them to make sure that they're showing the ability to score the goals, so that Thembi is not going, well, if I have an off day, does that mean that the whole team is also off form?
Okay. Luckily, just before I let you go, I do remember that after the loss to Tanzania, a lot of people, or rather critics in particular, felt like there was an imbalance in the team with about 4 players over the age of 30 starting that game. The squad has been chopped and changed over the last 2 group games, but as of now, do you think that the coach has found a right balance for the team?
I think you want to build on people that are in confidence. So if Coach Jez is looking towards that Saturday game against Morocco, she does pick this team again to go up against the co-host. But in terms of balance, she can only work with what she has. I think within the South African football landscape, you need to understand that the experienced players right now are the ones that are performing and are on form enough for us to say, if we're going to pick a starting 11, majority of the players that have been here before at a WAFCON are going to be the ones that dominate the starting lineup. We still want to slowly integrate the youngsters like the Lonathemba Mhlongo, the Zoe October into the squad, because ultimately when the team didn't start well and didn't record that first win against Tanzania, it was always difficult to say, okay, throw in the youngsters. What if they struggle in that second game against Cote d'Ivoire? So it's an issue of Coach Jez kind of saying to the older players, please continue to perform as best as you can. I know what you guys are capable of. Keep on pushing that. And then slowly you kind of start to introduce new players. Isabella Ludwig did really well yesterday, especially in the first half, where you saw that she could contribute to the side. But in the second half, it did taper off. So there will be those issues where you're saying, there's not full 90-minute performances from the new faces in the squad. And that's why there's now an over-reliance on the experienced players to be the one that are really pushing the agenda and making sure that the team is performing.
All right then, Tholakele, thank you so much for your time on the show. It's always a pleasure to have you. Hopefully, next time we have you, we'll be speaking about South Africa clinching that ticket to the 2027 World Cup next year. It's always a pleasure to have you. Do enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you so much. Bye.
All right then. Now, the battle for the final quarterfinal spots at the 2026 Women's Africa Cup of Nations reaches a crucial stage tonight as Group C concludes with two decisive fixtures. Defending champions Nigeria take on Egypt in Rabat, while group leaders Malawi face Zambia in the other encounter. The Super Falcons must secure a positive result to strengthen their chances of reaching the knockout stage with a potential three-way tie involving Nigeria, Zambia and Malawi, if possible, for the results to go their way. Now, in that scenario, CAF's head-to-head rules will determine the final standings. The top two teams from the group will advance to the quarterfinals, with Nigeria's clash against Egypt kicking off at 9 p.m. West African time. Thank you for staying with us. We're back now, and we'll be starting off this segment with Izine right now. The Super Falcons are chasing another quarterfinal appearance, but the competition in African women's football continues to grow. Does Nigeria still have the depth and quality to compete for the title, or has the gap with emerging nations narrowed?
Talk about the Super Falcons. Always a pleasure. For me, I feel Nigeria would always have the edge. It's not a matter of, yes, the gap is closing, but for every WAFCON tournament that Nigeria goes to, the Super Falcons will definitely be the overwhelming favorites. 10 titles in the continent is no jokes. There's no mean feat. And we saw what they did in their last game when they needed the win, most important victory to still keep them on the verge of defending their title there in Morocco, playing in the same place that they were able to defeat the host nation last time in Rabat. They still were able to get an important victory against Zambia. So just like your question asks, Super Falcons would always be favorites. Yes, the gap is closing. We are seeing a WAFCON tournament whereby a team has 6 points already and they are not even sure of making it to the quarterfinals. That tells you how much the gap is closing. And for the group, I'm sure when this group was made, no one thought that Malawi would be leading it at this point. So Super Falcons always will be favorites, but then, yes, the gap is closing. Other countries are finding a way to come closer. Maybe the talent pool that we have would always be better, would always eclipse that of other countries. But one thing we know that sometimes talent might not be enough. Hard work is also required.
Beyond qualification, what tactical approach should Nigeria adopt in this game against Egypt if they want to qualify and successfully defend their WAFCON crown and also secure a place at the 2027 FIFA Women's World Cup?
Team is qualification, so we can't say beyond it because it's very important. If we don't qualify from the group stage, it means that there's no title defense. It means that there's no World Cup in 2027 for the Super Falcons. So for the team, we'll see how the group goes. And thankfully, CAF is using the head-to-head before we talk about the goal difference. Now we have that head-to-head a bit in our favor because that's the only reason why we are ahead of Zambia, who has more goal difference compared to the Super Falcons. And for us now, all we have to do is to just keep scoring the goals. Zambia was able to score 6 against Egypt, that's the Cleopatra. Malawi was able to also get 3, although it ended 3-1 in that fixture. So for the Super Falcons, I think with the approach that Justin Madugu should go into, it's more about getting the goals, let the goals count, because there's no more points that will be counted for more than the 3, not just to win 1-0, not just to win 2-0, because we need to win more than that in this tie, which is very, very important, which is key to this team going forward. You look at the stars we have going forward. And even in the WAFCON too, the big names are showing up. The women are separating themselves from the girls. We saw where we needed that important victory. Asisat Oshola did that for South Africa. Kgatlana came into bringing in her wealth of experience to help the side. So for Justin Madugu, what matters now is get the 3 points, get the number of goals that are required to go to the next stage of the competition. We can't, it's going, I think it will be the biggest shockers if we don't make it to the round to the quarterfinals. That would be us falling below of our targets. As even as a country, as a continent, it means that most likely we might be having a new champion. Remember that Morocco and South Africa will be eliminating themselves going into the semi-final. So for the Super Falcons of Nigeria, they have to make sure that they win this game, win it convincingly. Other countries were able to do it. I don't think that should be a big fight a big challenge. But then one thing life has taught us that sometimes it's difficult when you play someone that has nothing to lose. Egypt has nothing to lose, and they might just want to come all out against the Super Falcons in this tie. But then I trust the experience that we have. I trust the hunger in this team. We've seen it from the captain, Rashida Tajibade. We've seen it from goalkeeper Nadoze, even though it was more of a sense of relief from her, knowing that we're able to hold on to that 1-0 victory against Zambia. So I think the target has not changed. Make it out of the group, stage past the quarterfinals, and then semi-final is the first target, which is to get the World Cup ticket and get to the finals and defend the title.
From you still believe in this team, and in fact you expect them to go all the way to the final and obviously clinch that ticket to the World Cup. But obviously, in your own opinion, I do believe that anything other than what you've said in terms of seeking qualification, or rather clinching qualification, it will be regarded as a failure in this tournament, if I'm correct.
Yes, it would be regarded as a failure because of the pedigree that the Super Falcons are in the continent, in Africa. That is what they are. But then when we look around the arrangement, the preparation for this team, I'm not surprised at how we did not start up in the best of foot. But then we cannot. I think it would be the worst we've ever had in a WAFCON competition is a 4th place. We've never been knocked out in the group stage. So it would be a big far cry. It would be, I would call it an abomination that the Super Falcons not make it out of the group. So for them, they already know their own side. It's just for us to win and win convincingly, win with number of goals, because we know that if Zambia wins Malawi, Zambia tops the group ahead of the Super Falcons, because at that end we look at the difference when it comes to the head-to-head and also for the goal difference. So for us, is to score as many goals we can score, and hope that the God that did it for South Africa yesterday would also do it for the Super Falcons.
All right then, Ezine, thank you so much for your time on the show. We hope to have you on subsequent editions of the show, where we possibly will be discussing the progress of the Super Falcons at the ongoing WAFCON tournament in Morocco. Once again, thank you so much for your time on the show. Do enjoy the rest of your day.